The woman who woke up as someone else. The true story of Uttara and Sharada. Imagine waking up one day, speaking a language you never learned, feeling deep within that you belong to another place, another time, another life. Life doesn't end with death. It transforms. We change bodies, time, history. This is one of those stories. Uttara Huddar was born on March 14, 1941, in Nagpur, India, into a respected and educated family. Her father was a farmer, but also a fighter. He had resisted British rule and even fought in the Spanish Civil War. While pregnant with her, her mother had a recurring dream. A snake bit her on the right big toe. That dream vanished the day Uttara was born. The Huddar family spoke Marathi. Uttara's childhood was seemingly normal. She was educated, respectful, and quiet. But since childhood, one thing terrified her above all: snakes. Her father said her phobia was severe, especially when she was 5 and 8 years old. Uttara did well in life and attended Nagpur University, earning a master's degree in English and a second in public administration. Later, she was hired as an assistant lecturer in the university's administration department. At 24, she was still unmarried and living with her parents, as is customary in India. After a series of painful romantic disappointments, she gradually turned inward, beginning an intense spiritual search. She became more introspective, more mystical. She filled notebooks with poems and reflections, as if preparing for something even she didn't understand. At age 32, she entered a residential clinic to treat persistent physical ailments. While there, she began meditating intensely, and her behavior changed radically. She became highly excitable and escaped the facility, saying she wanted to return to the place she truly belonged. Something inside her had broken or awakened. The next day, Uttara was no longer Uttara. A strange phenomenon had occurred, what is known as xenoglossy, where a person speaks or understands a language they have never consciously learned or been exposed to. This phenomenon has been documented in cases of mediumship, hypnotic regression, and alleged reincarnation. Dr. Ian Stevenson, a pioneer in reincarnation research, rigorously studied several of these cases, verifying linguistic, biographical, and behavioral data using scientific methods. Uttara no longer spoke Marathi, her native tongue. She spoke only fluent, spontaneous Old Bengali, as if she had spoken it her entire life. She didn't recognize her parents or her surroundings. She claimed her name was Sharada. Her clothing changed. She began dressing like a married Bengali woman from the 19th century. She covered her head with a sari, spoke in a soft accent, and walked barefoot like rural women of the past. After her transformation, Uttara, as Sharada, began behaving strangely with Dr. Joshi, the spiritual physician treating her. She claimed he was her husband from another life. One day, she burst into the room where the doctor was dining with his assistant. She scolded him like a jealous wife, called him unfaithful, and demanded an explanation. After that, the doctor no longer knew what to do. He asked Uttara's parents to take her home. Uttara would eventually return to her original personality, but Sharada would reappear again, once for 42 consecutive days. Dr. Ian Stevenson, the pioneering researcher in reincarnation studies, investigated the case thoroughly. He documented Sharada's episodes by recording her voice while she spoke Bengali. He invited 8 native speakers to evaluate her, and all but one concluded that she spoke Bengali responsively, like someone who genuinely understood the language. She wrote it and spoke it fluently. For Stevenson, there was no doubt Sharada was an autonomous personality, possibly from another life. Who was Sharada? Sharada claimed she was born in Burdwan, in the state of Bengal, on the sacred day of Janmashtami, the birth of the god Krishna, sometime between August and September, between the years 1805 and 1807. Her mother died when she was 2 months old. Her father was a priest at a nearby temple. She was raised by her paternal aunt and her aunt's husband, who had no children of their own. She grew up under their care, with love and structure in a traditional rural setting. She learned to read and write thanks to a cousin of her father. At age 7, her aunt arranged her marriage to another cousin, an Ayurvedic doctor named Vishwanath Mukhopadhyaya. After marriage, she went to live with Vishwanath in his parents' home, but her father-in-law opposed the marriage, leading to frequent tensions. Eventually, Sharada and her husband decided to live independently. Sharada recalled that her father died when she was 18. In the years that followed, she and her husband moved between the villages of Shivapur and Khulna. She suffered 2 miscarriages. At age 24, 5 months into her 3rd pregnancy, she decided to visit her family, traveling from Shivapur to Saptagram. Shortly after arriving at her aunt's house, while picking flowers, she was bitten on the big toe by a snake. She remembered being carried on a stretcher, then lost consciousness. She had no memory of dying, no awareness of being dead. The next thing she recalled was waking up in Nagpur, in another woman's body, over 800 kilometers away, and more than a century later, with an overwhelming feeling that she had to find her husband. Uttara's family was stunned. When her real personality returned, Uttara had no memory of what had happened during Sharada's episodes, but they kept recurring, sometimes for days, sometimes weeks. And in each episode, the transformation was complete. Her speech, gestures, religious beliefs, phobias, handwriting, even her memories, all belonged to another woman from another era. Sharada would not touch light switches. She didn't know what a telephone, a car, or a tape recorder was. She had never seen a ballpoint pen. She called the recorder a haunted box. She wouldn't allow strange men to touch her, and when she spoke, she used words that had long fallen out of use, over 100 years old. One day, researchers decided to test her. They showed her names of real people from the region Sharada had described. And she correctly identified her grandfather, father, uncles, even a distant cousin. All of them were real people who had lived there, and their familial relationships matched her story exactly. She even knew that in her family, all the men's names ended in Nath, following an old monastic tradition. Details that would be nearly impossible to fabricate. But the most chilling moment came when, during one of the Sharada phases, Uttara began pointing to her toe. "A king cobra bit me," she said, and there on her skin, a dark mark appeared. Her tongue turned blue. She fainted. It was as if she were reliving her own death again. How can all of this be explained? Scientists who studied the case, like Ian Stevenson, Satwant Pasricha, and V.V. Akolkar, considered various hypotheses. Possession, dissociative disorder, deep suggestion, but none of these models could coherently explain the precision of the facts. Uttara's fluency in ancient Bengali, a language she had never studied to that level, or the persistent episodic nature of this alternate personality. Some called it xenoglossy. the spontaneous ability to speak an unlearned language. Others suggested extreme dissociation. But there were also those who seriously claimed that this was something else, something beyond the bounds of known science. Was it a case of reincarnation? A manifestation of trauma? An alternate identity? Some believe Sharada was a past life personality of Uttara, emerging from her subconscious. Others believe her soul simply returned. The case of Sharada leaves us with more questions than answers. But her story, woven through dreams, forgotten languages, and memories that should not exist, reminds us that there are mysteries that neither time nor science have yet been able to solve. And you? Do you believe the soul's memory can cross lifetimes? Let me know in the comments. And if you're passionate about real documented cases like this, subscribe and turn on the notification bell for more intriguing content. There's still so much more to discover.